report that Angie Williamson took for us. It'd probably be worth it during the video while I'm reading to pay attention behind me. That is the part of my property where I took the thermal video, that wood line. So who knows, but I'm going to read this report. The Sasquatch Encounter Brigade podcast report by Angie Williamson, Troup County, Georgia. Anonymous eyewitness, fall 2012. How does a 1,200-pound dead cow just disappear? In 2012, I leased a pasture out Highway 27 going towards Franklin, and I had a bunch of cows on it. The property was just before you got to Potato Creek. The property beside it had a huge hunting club on it, and on the other side was the Corps of Engineer property, which is thousands of acres. The Chattahoochee River was only about a mile straight through the woods, and there was a creek that came all the way through the property and flowed all the way to the Chattahoochee. One of the hunters from the club next door shot one of my cows, and I raised a big stink about it. I took my tractor and hauled the dead cow all the way to the back of the property and dropped it in a runoff ditch. I figured the coyotes, buzzards, and other animals would take care of it. I went back just a few days later, and my son said he wanted to see the dead cow. Yes, I know it sounds morbid, but I drove him back there to see it. And that 1,200-pound cow was now nowhere to be found. I mean, it just disappeared. There were no signs that anything had been eating on it. There were no drag marks, bones, blood, hair, nothing. It was just gone. I have no idea how a 1,200-pound cow can just vanish just like that. But that one did. After looking for the cow, I decided I better go check on my other cows and their calves. The cows were way down in the lower pasture next to the back gate that opened onto the Corps of Engineers property. The creek flowed under the fence just a few feet from the gate. I was making sure the calves were doing okay and was focused on that until my son asked me if I heard that noise. I didn't hear anything then, but a few minutes later we heard a loud knock way down the creek. I could see that the cows had started moving towards the front pasture. It was quiet for a few minutes, so I whistled. Then it was quiet again, and then it knocked again, but this time I could tell it was closer. I whistled again, then it knocked again, but this time it was really close. I grabbed my son up, and we headed back to the truck, which was at the barn in the middle of the pasture. We were completely exposed and a long way from the truck, and my hand never left the grip of the pistol I had on my side. I was watching our backs the whole time, and I wasn't going to stick around to find out what it was. I will tell you something else that happened that makes the cow story even crazier. A few months after that happened, I got a call from my cousin. He had llamas not too far from there, and back then he was just learning about llamas. He didn't know you couldn't put two males together or they would fight to the death, and he ended up with a dead llama. He called me and told me what happened, and he asked me to bring the tractor over the next morning to help move the llama. Well, when I got over there with my tractor, we went down to where the llama was, but it was gone. This was about a 300-pound llama. Again, there were no drag marks, no hair, no tracks, nothing. There was a bloody spot where it had been laying, but that was all. His pasture is surrounded by 5-stranded barbed wire fence, and there wasn't anything even in the fence wire. I mean, you know how woolly a llama is? If something had drug it off, it would have had to go through the fence, and there would have to be some hair in that wire. It looked like something just scooped it up and carried it away. That's pretty crazy. We've got a lot of reports coming out of Troop and Herd, a couple other places, and Angie already has a few more of these reports that she's already done. And Joe I know he's read one and put it up on a few of the podcast platforms that we have. I don't believe he's put it on YouTube, but I'm going to start reading them out as Angie does them. Really, she does really good reports, so I think it should be pretty cool, and I really want these stories to get out there. So thanks a lot.